Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new sketchbook and painting showcase. This is my second take. I was actually midway through the book, and I accidentally stopped the recording. But anyways, so I have a couple of stuff to show today. My sketchbook, there's a bit of interesting stuff. It's not over yet. There's still a couple of pages, but it's getting close. By the end of the year, it should be finished if I work on it relatively every day, but it's not that much work. It's just really fun. So, from what I recall, this page was in the previous sketchbook showcase, but it wasn't in color. So, this was actually continued shortly after the video. So, it was a while ago. It's Ecoline and colored crayon. It's kind of cool, but I never really finished it because I kind of got bored of Ecoline. I wanted to do something else. But I'll come back to it for sure. Like this double page has some potential to at least be kind of cool when it's finished. I think this was here before too in the last video, but yeah, the tint on the paper. I don't know if you can see really well, but the tint on the paper, yeah, you can here and here. It's actually a Pepsi. I was drinking a Pepsi and I wanted to see what effect it made on the paper, and it's noticeable. It gives it like a very slight tint, and it makes it a little bit shrivel up, but I think it's because the paper in general is not very good for too much exposure to water. Like it's not inherently made for watercolor or anything, but still. So all the pages I'm going through are actually kind of old now. I finished them a while ago, but they're still pretty neat. Just a lot of experimentation, practicing an anatomy still, because that shit is hard. And I don't know, I like drawing bodies. I think it's always interesting. Yeah, this is really weird for me because I haven't made this in so long, and these were made so long ago, so it's kind of putting me back through it too. Like what I was thinking when I made this, etc. Um, this was made with fuck, how do you call that in English? I think it's just called charcoal. Yeah, charcoal. Um, and that's about it. Just it has dropped a bit in quality since I finished it because obviously I moved the pages a lot and I haven't fixed it. Kind of dumb, so the pigments just go around everywhere and it just becomes more gray and gray until you can't really see what was intended and what's just stains, sadly. But that's how it is. I think it's fine. Coming up, there's actually, I think this page is one of the last that has no color, or at least yeah, no color at all. And this was just made in the bus. I had like a strike of inspiration, I guess, and I just made this. I should start to actually exploit the compositions I make more because, yeah, it's really cool to have a book with so much inspiration and ideas. But I should actually make illustrations of that stuff. That could be interesting. Just refining them and putting them in colors or at least in ink. That could be kind of cool. Yeah, this page. So this page is resulting from me experimenting with pure pigments. Pure pigments. Let me go get them. Whoa, they just appeared. That's crazy. Wow. Okay, pure pigments, basically what it is, it's just a powder that is colorful and it's really strong. Like if I do this, even on here, yeah, that shit stains really hard. And like I haven't put anything special on this. I have tried to mix it with water and white spirit, and it gave some different looks. This is with water, this too, and this is with white spirit. And it gives a very different feel. You can mix acrylic with it. It doesn't do anything too crazy. Unfortunately, it doesn't really dissolve in it. To really make something interesting out of pure pigments, you mm, using a paste to mix it is better because it's very uh, like it's not gonna bind with water. If you just use water and you use a lot of it, it's probably gonna stick to the paper even more to the paper or the canvas, I guess. But it's just much more difficult if you don't use something like acrylic or uh, an oil painting. Like it's not gonna stick that well. And this was put on the paper maybe 3 months ago, and if I touch it, it's still gonna come off. So yeah, but it's really fun to work with. I think it can just get a little messy on paper because paper gets messy easily in general. But it's a very interesting medium. You can mix it with a lot of stuff to try to create some effects and stuff. And I actually have a painting with blue pigments that I'll show later. But yeah, this is the page when I got them, so I experimented with them. And this is a drawing that a friend gave me. Shout outs to Paul, the best ever. Yeah. And this page is pretty sick. This was just a lot of fun to make. Sometimes I just like to create compositions like this without really an idea when I start. I just start creating and I let the flow of emotion and ideas I have just, I let them control me, I guess. And I just create shit. And I'm really happy with these pages in particular because I think the technique is pretty decent. Unfortunately, here you can see there's been some residue. The pure the pure pigment is actually so strong. It goes into the cracks here, and pretty much all pages are kind of blue. Ooh, spoilers! They're all blue because of it. So some pages have been kind of, I guess, harmed, but it's not the end of the world. I still really like it. Yeah, this page too, pretty interesting. They just go very well together. Like when I made this, I didn't work on each individually. I really tried to make them work together because with the format of it being like a sketchbook, I think sometimes it's really important to link two pages to create something bigger. Because every page being a square every time and having compositions be square every time is tiring. I just get bored of having always the same uh, limitations. So I really like to expand stuff sometimes. This was with pure pigment still, I think. Yes, this was a mixed pure pigments and watercolor. And this looks pretty good. I really like the effect it gave it. Just extremely deep, extremely uneven, and kind of dirty in some way. It's just, yeah, I really the how deep it feels when you actually look at it up close because of all the shifts in intensity in the color. Same with here. This was with red and blue. I think this was just red mixed with the blue pure pigments, and this it made this pretty cool. Yeah, it's really I do like drawing non-serious stuff. I just yeah, my sketchbook is just everything I like. I kind of draw it. I like to create from stuff that amuse me or passionate me. So a lot of the time you can see there's some pretty dumb stuff, but that's what I'm passionate about. So it's to be expected, I guess. I love this cat. I should draw more cats in my sketchbook. Genuinely. Actually, wait. You're gonna have a oh my god cat jump scare in 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Holy shit! He's fucked up. Yeah, he's awesome. I actually made this when I was with friends. I haven't put it in my book yet, but next time I make a sketchbook showcase, I promise it's gonna be in it because it's just really funny. Yeah. Anyways, just some cool sketches, some exploring ideas, and just combining a lot of things that don't really fit the same style, but I feel like they still convey my style or the atmosphere I give to my work. I think you see this even if you blank out every other drawing and only look at one at a time. I think you can tell that all of them are made by me because they're all just kind of silly in their own way, in their own Mia way. This is just tape that I used in one of my paintings that I'm gonna showcase later in the video. Yeah, that's how you speak English. So you'll see why the tape looks like this, all the color and stuff. The painting looks pretty good, so I hope you'll like it. Haha. Literally a hole. This idea has not been made yet. I don't like the composition anymore. I actually have a huge plexiglass. It's like 1 meter 90 in height and it's like maybe 50, 60, 70 centimeter wide. It's pretty fucking big. And I wanted to make something out of it when I found it, but for now I don't really have an idea. I want to make I have something to cover it in black, and what I'm gonna use is either a pen or anything to scratch the surface so that when it's covered in black on one side, you're gonna be able to see the light go through it. That's just I'm not really sure how you call it in English, so I'm just describing it, hoping that you see what I'm talking about. But hopefully next time I make a video, it will be made, so you'll be just able to see it. Whatever. Too many tangents. This page is cool. This is something I used to paint When I paint, I like to have tissues like this because I can they absorb the water really well, so I can just even use them on the canvas to try to absorb pigments that I don't really like, lighten something, or I can just use them to have less stuff on my less paint on my pens, whatever. I don't. It's not a pen, right? How do you call that? Yeah, a brush. Anyways, yeah, just to lighten a bit the material I have on my brush, and just to make details. It's really useful, and I really like the colors they have once it's finished. That's why I keep them. Yeah, just observing the colors. This is just some Ecoline stuff that I made. This was the skeleton thing. It's actually made with a colored pencil, but that has watercolor pigments. So after you just draw with the pencil, you can just put water in it and the pigments come out. Anyway, watercolor, you know what it is. And this cool thing, I should put it into color too. Like, it feels kind of weird to have two in colors and the last one be black and white, especially when there's so much beautiful blue here. And yeah, you probably have noticed by now, I really like the picture they use on cigarette packs or whatever to make you not want to smoke. Which, let's think about it for a sec. It's pretty dumb. Like, if people want to smoke, they're gonna smoke anyways. It's not because you show them this that they're gonna stop. It goes way deeper than that psychologically, but I just really like the symbolism and taking them and using them in a different context or to represent something different is really interesting to me. I really like it. So I've been keeping a lot of them. I think, yeah, I have more here that I haven't used yet. This one is fucking disgusting. The feet, goddamn, it's awful. I think it was actually on the page a bit earlier. This one, yeah, fucking horrible. But yeah, anyways, this is an idea I haven't made yet, and I don't know if anyone likes this when they see it, but I have big plans for it. I definitely want to. Well, now that I think of it, I legit have a canvas that is this format, and I forgot I had this idea. And I was actually thinking, like, for a while, the past couple of days, what to do with the canvas I had. This is literally waiting in my sketchbook. All right, well, sneak peek, I guess. This will be one of my next projects. I just absolutely love the composition, but yeah, whatever. I've actually started making sculptures too recently. I only have one here. I had made a second one, but it was a gift. It was a birthday gift for someone. Same thing, I had actually made another oil painting that was completely finished, but I gifted it to my friend Paul. You know, the person that gave me this? Yeah. I gave them the painting, and that was a week ago, so I won't be able to show them in the video, but if you're interested in my art, feel free to go on my Instagram. I'll put a link in the description if I think about it, so you can see them because I actually have pictures that I've posted, so you'll be able to see what they look like. There's actually no sketches of them here because I was doing this in secret, so they wouldn't know. So I haven't anything archived except the pictures. But as you saw, this is almost the end. and I really like this page. A lot of the sketches I've made, I'm actually thinking about making into sculptures. I've actually really thought about these when I made them as sculptures, not necessarily as paintings or drawings, just to give me an idea of how I want them to look like. Yeah, anyways, I really like this page too. This is watercolor. Same for here. I don't remember exactly what I used here. I think this is actually. No, yeah, it's watercolor. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, this is a lot of stuff. Um, it's abstract, as you can see, and it's actually made with pure pigments, Ecoline, and maybe other stuff. I don't remember exactly what I used, but I think it was Ecoline, pure pigments, watercolor, and that's about it. I don't think I used anything more than that. But sadly, when it dried out, it looks way less interesting than how it looked like when it was drying. And if you want to see that, same, it's on my Instagram, I think. So if you want to see it in its full glory, you'll be able to. And this. Maybe you've noticed that the pattern of me drawing this and then just a skull with all the whatever. I was trying to think of the name of the bone, but I can't remember. Like the bones exactly like this. I've actually drawn this a couple of times. I don't. Well, yeah, the pages before, I guess. This was supposed to be an idea. I had worked on a very detailed sketch for a while for a painting, but it didn't come through. I actually restarted and scrapped it entirely. But I've been trying to make it work. I'm still thinking about it because just the way of drawing the bones and only these bones in particular, I really like how it looks and just the image it gives feels impactful. And same, the structure of faces that I imagined here is pretty neat. I could actually make an illustration out of that and not a painting. That could be more productive. I actually think I'll do that. Anyways, the rest here is me testing my colors and the things that I bought at the time. This is some watercolor. And it's pretty neat. Just some beautiful colors. I managed to find a spot where I can buy them and it's not too expensive. That's been a godsend because I'm kind of cheap. And this is actually the last page as of now. I'm gonna focus on this one first. Just a lot of crayon sketches, ideas for composition, experimentation. I've actually been experimenting a lot with trying to create surfaces that feel dead or part of the environment. Like the way this is made, I really like to imagine that this was some kind of rock or a rock formation that was actually open and kind of gaping. And the way that the filaments are, it almost feels like a wound, even though the rest is so like what's the word for that? God damn it, I'm so rusty at speaking English. It's been so long. I'm really sorry. But what I meant was like all the straight lines gives it a very artificial look, and the fact that this is very fluid and has a lot of filaments, it creates a contrast, and it creates something pretty interesting. And the shape too is weird, right? Anyways, this other page. Um, I guess you could say this is kind of some weird architecture because the way it feels. This is definitely calculated to make you feel like this is an interior and this is an exterior. I just haven't worked on the exterior here, but I've really enjoyed creating this kind of perspective into the page. It's one of the only times I've done this in this book, surprisingly. And I really like the depth it creates when you look at the pages. It's just really weird. All the lines. You can see that they're not all straight, but that wasn't the point. Like if I wanted them to be all straight, I would have just used a ruler, but I intentionally used just my hand and a crayon and nothing else because I wanted it to be not straight. Because when you look at it from far away, it just looks kind of wobbly and just strange. And I don't like when things look too clean, I guess, but it's cool. This is also cool, but I I don't have anything special to say about it. Yeah, just just a couple of frogs. Am I right? And yeah, this is it for now. So I still have maybe 7, 8 pages. So still a lot of work, but pretty good for now. And now it's time for the paintings. So this is one of my work in progress that I've been working on for almost a month now. Just I haven't been working on it every single day, but I've been working on other stuff, then going back to it, just on and off a lot, just to give me some time to see how I want it to be by the end. But it's one of my first oil paintings. I haven't made a lot. Technically, I finished two that are good, and this one is going to be the third once it's finished, I hope. But yeah, a lot of work went into this. I'm just showing the close-up so you can see the details and how the color is put, etc. But even on the chest is admittedly not finished, but there has been a ton of work put into it, especially this area that I consider kind of finished. It still has some work to do. Once I finish the chest, obviously I'll have to make sure that everything is in sync and looks good together. But just a lot of layering, playing with colors, and creating depth. I've been enjoying oil a lot. It's probably one of my favorite medium, which feels weird because I was exposed to it a while ago, a couple of years ago, but I didn't like it when I first tried it. But after giving it another chance, I've fallen completely in love with it. Like, I cannot stop. It's just really fun. Yeah. I'm gonna let you have uh, a look in its entirety again, and then I'm gonna go on to another painting. Yeah. So this painting, it's kind of hard with the the way the camera is to have it entirely without kind of showing my whole house, but this was probably one of this was my no second to last acrylic painting that I've made recently, and a shit ton of work went into it. I don't know if you can tell, lol, but I've been trying really hard to improve my work with color, contrast, and just my composition in general, and I was really proud of this one in particular. It's the one I mentioned in the book when I was talking about the tape. I'll make a side to side so you can understand where I put the tape. It'll make sense, but yeah. The sad part about it is that sadly, you can see this weird formation on what looks like to be a hand. Well, this wasn't here when I was painting. And because of the quality of the canvas, maybe, and the quality of the pigments in the acrylic, sadly, it got much worse when it dried. So when I was done with it, it was basically a perfect look. It looked amazing. But after drawing, uh, it was less than, well, it looks good, but I just would have rather it look great. But this is still good. I like the way how the hand at first you don't necessarily notice that it's a hand. The only noticeable part of it is the fingers, kid name finger, and I guess the shape of the palm. But that's about it. The eye, a lot of work went into this. I don't know if you can notice like the very small points here of white, of blue, of green. This was calculated. It wasn't just pure luck. I worked on a lot of that on that, and I think it looks decent. I think I do better with oil, and after the time that passed, but it's still decent. And the last detail that's worthwhile in this painting is actually the thing that took me the most time in its entirety. The phone quality is kind of being a bitch, but like I'm really trying. Yes, you can kind of see it. This is like really small. I'll put my finger for comparison, but like, do you see this little fucking yellow bit or this one here? I had to do that with a with a brush, yeah. And the holographic effect it gives the stone, I really like it, and I worked a ton on that. This is I'm gonna take a step back just so you can see how it looks from afar. It's very discreet, but the work that went into this, like the hole and the stone inside of it, it took me maybe, I wouldn't say an exact number because I'm gonna be wrong. It has been a while, but a couple hours at least, at the very least. I worked a lot on this. I'm just gonna do a side note on the tape, and then I'll say my whole feelings about it, because this one was one of the painting that I put the most time into recently. So yeah, tape now. So yeah, just the small side notes. This area you can see is way darker than this one, and it's on both sides. Well, this was where the tape was. If you look at it, in some parts it's way more obvious than others. Like here, you can see there's a lot of concentration of very small green and red dots, and you can see on the tape as well that it's here. This was on the side to protect it, because I wanted to narrow down the space that took the head and all the weird ass shapes in it, just to make you recenter what you're looking at when you see the canvas, because it's pretty tall and pretty big, so it's hard to really focus where you should if there's nothing to aid you. And the eye is what you see first, and this just helps to make that easier. And this painting I'm really happy about. I think it's one of my best in acrylic, or like just the way I worked on it, I am just really happy with it. I think it looks pretty good. But yeah, there's two last ones, but they're not as intricate, so it will go faster to talk about them. So just now. So this is the second to last painting I'm gonna talk about today, and this was the abstract painting that I used the pure pigment on that I was talking about earlier in the video. So basically, my favorite use of pure pigment as of now that I found is using it with white Ecoline. Why? Well, because white Ecoline is special. It's different than every other Ecoline because Ecolines are in general completely liquid, but white Ecolines are way thicker basically. So what happens is that they can trap blue pigments way easily inside, and when they dry, well, it won't come off because it's basically fused with it. And where you don't mix it, the pure pigment just goes around, so it creates these really impressive, well, white dots everywhere that it looks kind of like a galaxy, right? It's pretty weird. And what's even better about white Ecoline is that when it dries, it starts to shatter like this, but it stays stable. It doesn't come off of the canvas, but it just creates these beautiful lines inside of it that crack it. And it's one of my favorite effects. Unfortunately, I don't have any left in my possession. I have to go buy some again because I've used a lot of it recently. But this is obviously, like, what I'm describing, this is a very small part of what made this painting. There's like so much going on, so much. I used so many mediums and techniques to make it look like this. It's actually kind of dumb, but one of my abstract paintings. I'm still a huge fan of abstract art because there's nothing better to just convey emotions. It's completely pure energy in its nature. Just a lot of colors, of shapes, and you can interpret it however you want. And I have my interpretation when I made it, but you'll never know it. But what's good is that you have your own, and it's as valuable as mine. But yeah, cool painting. Last one, not as cool, but still kind of okay, I guess. And then I'll close it off. Jump scare. This is the last painting. Um, it looks scary. It looks pretty scary. I really love it. This is the last painting I've made in acrylic. I actually was frustrated with the skeleton thing, what I was talking about previously. I had, like, on the if you stripped the layers of paint magically, what's behind it is the sketch, the very detailed sketch of the skeleton and all the bones. But I didn't like it, so one night I just had this image in my head of this figure, and I decided to paint it. No questions asked. I just went for it basically. And you can see that above the lip, there's just a bit of pure blue pigment. And there is in other small places, but this is the only real thing that creates a little bit of blue. The rest is technically a shade of blue, but not as blue as the upper lip here. And the rest is very dark and black. So when you see it for the first time, the eyes completely absorb what you're looking at, and you can only look at them. And that's what makes it like so powerful as a painting. It catches you. And it's intimidating. Legitimately, this painting is a creature. It's weird. But I really like it. I'm pretty fan of it. A pretty big fan. Even if it's very different. Kind of weird how I've presented this and this in the exact same video. And I've made both. But yeah. Okay. So this was a painting and sketchbook showcase late September. I hope this was at least a little bit interesting, and stay on the lookout in 7 months for the next one, I guess. All right, thanks for watching.